any government at the end of war can try and claim a victory, but no one wins when it comes to war. You're always going to have certain amounts of collateral damage. You're always going to have certain people who are going to lose their life who shouldn't. You're always going to make sure that you're going to lose someone's brothers and uncles and fathers and husbands and things like this in these wars. And so we need to stop treating lives as if we're pawns on a chessboard somewhere that we can just basically move to play political football. We have to be smart in how we not only protect our American people, but we protect our treasures and we protect our ability to be able to be strong again. We have to get America First agenda back on the block, and we have to stop this interventionist mindset of the 1980s.
I watched, I think it was Clint Russell retweeted, this is from a few days ago, some graphic of like veterans suicide, how the deaths of active military, and it's like suicide is like 15, 18% in 1980, and then it goes up and over the years, and now it's at like 45% of active. What the fuck does that work? What in the hell? And that's just people that are actually there in the military getting the brunt.
I also contribute that to a little bit of the wokeness that's basically continue to try and utilize this indoctrinating kind of process where in our military, it's one of the things that we strived so hard for, myself, Matt Gates, Jim Banks, Ronnie Jackson, I mean, so many of the members of our Armed Services Committee, and especially the MilPER subcommittee, was to get away from this idea that meritocracy no longer can exist and it's all about the diversity, equity, and inclusion, the DEI. What we really need to be focusing on for our military, which is what it used to be focused on, is things like increased lethality, readiness, and being properly equipped. Those are the three things I want to see out of my military. And I think that what we're bringing in now is drag shows and, transsexual, gender affirming surgeries and travel abortion that's being paid for by the federal government, things like this that in no way, what we should be thinking about is how do we improve the quality of life? How do we get military construction, MilCon in place that allows the housing availability and affordability to be better for our armed forces? How can we actually make sure that instead of just having 2 days a week for childcare for the spouses of those who serve, we have it all day, every day, so they can have careers of their own? It's like we should be thinking about improving the quality of life of our armed service members, but also let's start prioritizing our veterans over illegal aliens who are basically invading our nation.
I think we don't because American culture has shifted into being sort of anti-military. I think that there's sort of a disconnect between the way people used to feel.
This administration has almost become anti-American.
Oh, they're 100% anti-American.
It's not even American anti-military.
Day-to-day American personality. You see this reflected in military recruitment. People don't want to join the military.
We've got 33,000 recruitment deficit right now. You're talking 3 military divisions.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, one of the amendments that I tried to pass, that I tried to put in that CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, tried to say scored, which is nonsense. I wanted us to basically look at the fact that these vaccination purging is unconstitutional and that we should bring back our military service members. We should give them the back pay that's necessary. They shouldn't have to pay any bonuses back because at the end of the day, they were to serve our government, or I should say serve our nation, not to serve our government's agenda. And so, and meanwhile, they were like, no, sorry, this scores. So you can't put it in as an amendment. It's just ridiculous what we're seeing right now. I guess I have to agree to some extent. It is an anti-military, but anti-American agenda.
Do you think there's a way to shift culture away from that? There's always going to be politicians who are sort of anti-military or who see, more conservative takes on the military and conservative values as a threat. But do the day-to-day Americans ultimately want to say, oh, you're a returning vet, I don't care about you? Because that's really what a lot of communities
convey to them. You said the exact
thing
in the earlier part of your statement, which is politicians. They're actually the biggest part of the problem. We don't need politicians. We need statesmen. Mm-hmm. We need veterans who've actually served in uniform who understand exactly what our warfighters need to be able to move forward. Mm-hmm. We have to have the necessary resources and assets, not being pre-allocated to another country to where they can actually worry about the PTSD and the trauma that the other nation's going through and ignoring our own veterans here at home. We have to just get back to statesmen who understand what the America First approach is and start prioritizing the American citizens.